Welcome to this series of interviews, Remembering Skiing, La mémoire du ski, where we talk to people who are pioneers of skiing in the Laurentians, people who have been around for a long time and have seen what skiing was like in the early days and seen the evolution of a sport that was quite basic 40, 50 years ago and has now become a major industry in the Laurentians. The lower Laurentians, particularly la MRC des Pays d'en Haut, which is known as the birthplace of skiing in Canada and of Quebec. And our guest today is Dean Booth. Hi, Dean. Dean, probably you know him as the operator of the very popular Mont-Habitant in the Laurentians. Welcome and
thank you.
How long have you been running Mont-Habitant?
Since 86. 86, yeah. Wow. Actually, it was Fernand Levesque was just before me, and then I was working in marketing, and then I took over in 87. Okay. And then in 1995, I started my own company, and I leased the operation from développement Mont-Habitant, which is, as you well know, is owned by the Steins and the Weinbergs.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Well, before we get into details about that, let me just go back to your family, because the Booth family was inducted into the Ski Hall of Fame in, 2015, I guess it was? Yeah. And it's very unusual to have a whole family inducted at one time. Which means that everybody in your family, parents included, have been involved with skiing as long as we can remember. Yeah.
It was sort of a natural thing. I mean, my father and mother, they came to Saint-Sever in the probably the early 50s, full time, and they bought the house in just before the 50s, in late 40s. And we were on Lanning Street, and we just all of us evolved into it. I mean, as you know, Ronnie had the Trading Post ski shop.
Yeah. What was your first job in skiing? It seems to me I've known you forever, but I sort of have difficulty remembering where we first connected.
Were you involved with Stan? You very, very well, drinking in the inn. A long time ago.
And you're going to tell me that you were a kid this high, and I was talking on the radio in those days. No, but were you involved with Stan Siegel at some point?
Before that, I was involved with Stan. I worked with Stan,
because I did work for Stan, so I think probably that's where
Snowlark Ski School.
Snowlark Ski School, exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about ski teaching and how that has changed. What was it like when you first began? It was the technique was way different from what it is, and the learning curve was flatter than it is now, I suppose.
Obviously now everything is, from golf to tennis, no matter what it is, everything is, it's a little more comfortable to take a lesson. You can progress a lot quicker. So the client is having a lot more fun. In the previous years, it was hard to get the customer to come back. It was very important, that first lesson, because don't forget, the grooming has changed, the equipment has changed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But back in those days, it was very, very busy. I mean, there was a big market. People wanted to get into skiing, and there weren't a lot of ski schools. And one who should be complimented, who really introduced skiing and the programs, was Joan Goodwin Wilson.
Yes.
And Joan really
was also a member of the Ski Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and Joan was also a part owner of Mont-Habitant, and she deserves a lot of credit. And there's also a lot of, obviously, Grey Rocks. I mean, these people who created so much fun and enthusiasm, got these people into the marketplace. Obviously, eventually, they had children, and then the children, and the children. But it started off in those years with Grey Rocks, Sutton with the Boulanger, Ernie at Tremblant, out west at Sunshine, And
I guess, too, one of the skiing in the 50s was a relatively new sport. I mean, it wasn't a new sport from the historical point of view, but it was a new sport to a lot of people.
Right.
And these people didn't have the skills necessarily, so they fed the ski schools abundantly.
Well, the ski schools started to become really popular in the 60s.
The 60s, yeah.
There wasn't really ski. People, it was like a sort of a hit and run situation, like there wasn't much grooming, and as you well know, but it really started in the 60s. All the programs, and in fact, I think in those days it wasn't Mont Saint Sever, it was called Uphill, and their program started in the late 60s, and which is quite interesting.
We're into a new era now, and wanted to talk about Mont-Habitant, because Mont-Habitant, for a long while, it was more popular than Mont Saint Sauveur, Hill 70.
Well, they were the first to have very efficient lighting at night.
Yes.
They had really good lighting, and that's the secret. That's what the customer wants. The customer is, he really wants not so much the value, but the experience. Good snow, and in those days they had good snowmaking. And then that changed, and then Mont-Habitant sort of leveled off, and then Mont Saint Sever came up with all of the new technology, and then Mont-Habitant, all the other areas started to pick up again, putting in quad lifts, etc. Like we put in fixed quads, so not to put too many people on the hill at once, and snowmaking is right up to date, and
Well, you were talking about lighting before. One of the first ski areas to have lights was Mont Gabriel.
That's right.
And the lights were not much better, worse than the lighting we have now, which is good.
Well, they worked off a generator.
A generator and little lights that you probably screwed in somehow. So it was quite basic. And then the Mont-Habitant came up with the floodlights, which made a big difference. Mercury vapor. And you had a lot of events over the years that took place there. I remember the Mont-Habitant ski-a-thon for the blind. Then it became for cancer research.
For Mickey,
For Mickey. Mickey Stein was one of the owners. And he was the first real manager of the ski hill there.
Correct.
And he's the guy that got it going in the right direction and made it a happening place.
I mean, a great personality, great character.
Yeah.
I mean, people, sometimes you have to wonder if they came there because of Mont-Habitant or they came there because of Mickey,
Well, exactly. Well, I think it's like anything else. You look at why a restaurant does well, or a discotheque, it's usually somebody in there that creates the atmosphere, and he did.
Yeah. And that's very important, because the areas that we have now, like in the Southern Laurentians, they'll always be successful if you have the people that are working there have that passion.
Yes.
If you have that passion, they're going to continue.
And there was also another thing at Mont-Habitant, was the bar. The bar, Le Trappeur.
Le Trappeur,
With the, what would they call the group there? The travelers, or
the Newlanders.
The Newlanders, yeah, exactly. They, I still have people to this day who remember that. They used to go there night skiing at Mont-Habitant and stick around for a beer afterwards and listen to the music, and those were really great days. And I think that was probably the heydays of Mont-Habitant before Mont Saint Sauveur started getting
Mont-Habitant,
into gear.
Mickey is another person actually they became they were married and had children, and but Mickey and Joan really deserve a lot of credit because of how they instigated all of those events, and the personality of the hill, and
I know. I remember Nancy Green.
the night race.
The night race. There was a night downhill or night giant slalom.
Giant slalom on the Grand Allée.
Yeah, and Nancy Green was there at one point. Yeah.
Then they changed the name of the auto route that night.
They changed the name of the auto route.
Yeah, it was called Nancy Greenway.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There was, how many people were there for the race? 5,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that was right after the Olympics. That was something, yeah.
Wow, that's quite something.
Yeah. Very important to make it fun.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, because in the 2020, we have so much competition. I mean, you have competition with the iPhone,
Whatever, yeah.
the computer, the iPad. You have competition with hockey. You have competition with everything. But if you make it fun and you make it, it's people enjoy it. It depends on the area. Like for Habitant, as you know, we're very family orientated. But we made a decision years ago when we said, when we do the park, it's not just for snowboarders. It's for everybody.
For everybody. Yeah.
Makes it fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come and you have rolls. We're going to make some rolls. We're going to
Contour
a
grooming.
jump. Yeah, contour grooming. Different things. And then for the kids or the younger generation who want to do, we'll have a jump where they can do flips, etc. But we try to make it not just for snow, make it for everybody and for every age. And we'll obviously, as we try to be as secure as possible, but we'll have an area just for kids that are between 4 to 6 years old, you know. And at the bottom of the hill, we every year we make a big mound of snow, maybe I don't know, 12 feet, 15 feet high, and the kids all they do,
They
just
ski in
slide.
the morning and
all they do is slide up and down.
I know.
Yeah. So.
What do you work on to differentiate yourself from them, and how is it to compete against 4 against 1, basically?
That's a good question because, first of all, all those hills, they all have their personality and their character, and they have to keep that. Even though it's owned by a big corporation, they have to. It's very important they keep that.
Yes.
To talk a bit about Les Sommets, I mean, it's a great group, and they really raise the bar. So you really, you have to be on your toes all the time.
Keep up.
For us, we don't try to say we're better because we're not. We don't try to say we're bigger because we're not. We don't try to say that you can ski to the end of May.
Because you don't.
We don't.
Yeah.
We say we're open the last weekend in November, and we close April the 10th. Every year, except for this year, obviously. But every year we do that. We really try to not worry what they're doing. We try to worry what we're doing.
Very good.
Our personality, our character. And if you look at sure, we have different issues, different problems, but it's us. We don't try to copy something that we cannot do. And getting back to that group, they're great. I think we're very. I think the province of Quebec is very lucky to have them.
Good people working together in a healthy environment, and creates what it creates. We all look better as we get older because we spend some time outdoors. One last thing, you started. You were inducted into the Ski Hall of Fame with your family.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you were told that the whole family would be in there?
Well, firstly, it wasn't for this. First of all, it was great. I mean, it was more than great. The reason, it was like a family reunion. I mean, Ronnie came from Vancouver, Wayne from Charlotte Lake, Sean from Canmore. So to be very honest with you, they got in on Thursday, and we started the party Thursday night, and we stopped on Sunday night. It was great.
And it was well deserved because you're the only family that has been inducted, the whole family, and it says a lot about the parents getting the kids involved in skiing and the involvement of each and every one of you doing different things.
But like I said, I would like to thank the Hall, because the Hall of Fame, because it wasn't so much for it to be in the Hall, it was all as a family to get together, which is getting back to skiing, which is all about.
Thank you very much.
Guy, thank you.
Thank you, Dean. And this was another capsule in our Remembering Skiing, La Mémoire du Ski. Thank you for watching, and we hope you'll be back with us next time. Bonne journée.